What's up, everybody, and welcome to this brand new live episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the man over there with the scoops and the hoops, Jeff Sneider. How are you, Jeff?
Hey, Johnny boy, good to see you.
Because he's low key today, ladies and gentlemen. He's nice and relaxed. He's been, it's hot outside. Maybe he took a walk. Maybe he's done some therapy, some meditation. Listen to this guy. Come on, what's going down, man?
What do you want to talk about, big guy? We got a big show today. We got a lot to discuss.
We got a lot to get into. And before we do, just want to remind you all, first of all, thank you for joining us. 150 of you already joining us live. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button so to see when we're dropping the Hot Mic. And also make sure to send in your Streamlabs or your Superchats as we go along. You know we're always time for time. So if you want your stuff answered by either one of us or both of us, send the stuff in now. One last thing, I want to give some love to Aaron Wilhelm, who is, as Jeff and I know, one of the first people who did promos and videos for us in the Schmodown. He has started a new t-shirt company, so I want to give him some love because he sent me a bunch of free shirts. I got a I Love Lamp shirt, a ring shirt here. He's offered Jeff a couple of free shirts as well. But you guys, if you want to go and get some shirts and see all the great designs that Aaron has, go to VAWDesigns.com. Go to VAWdesigns.com, especially you Schmodown fans. Give Aaron some love for all the work he's done, and they're great stuff. I've got a bunch of stuff, so just letting you know, go and head over there. All right, that was my pitch. I promised him I'd pitch it, and it's a great looking shirt. I like it. All right, Jeff, where are we going to start, man? Where do you want to go first, brother? We got so much to jump into.
All right, let's get this one out of the way first. Okay. It's actionable. All right. Let's talk about Bad Boys 4. Isn't that shooting soon, John? What's the deal with that?
That's what I hear. Bad Boys 4 shooting soon. Will Smith now is back in everyone's good graces. So, well, mostly. And so people are ready. Vanessa Hudgens is apparently coming back as well. I thought she did a nice job in Bad Boys for Life. So now we've got her coming back. They're ready to begin filming in the next few months. So, and this was as of 3 weeks ago on Deadline. So what do you have to update us with besides Vanessa Hudgens coming back to reprise her role?
Well, every movie needs a bad guy, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And I hear that the Bad Boys will be coming for potentially, rumor on the street, not confirmed, Eric Dane from Euphoria.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Eric Dane from Euphoria, I hear, is going to be the villain in Bad Boys 4.
Wow. Interesting choice. Do you like the choice? Do you think it's a nice next step in his career? What's your thoughts on it? Because I
actually thought Eric Dane was amazing on Euphoria last season. I thought he deserved an Emmy. I thought he was that good. Do you watch Euphoria?
I don't know, but I watched Grey's Anatomy when he was on Grey's Anatomy, and I enjoyed Eric Dane.
Totally different thing. He's
McSteamy. I don't watch Euphoria.
It's a totally different thing.
Okay.
He plays this closeted dad.
Oh, interesting.
And it is just this kind of shattering performance, of false bravado and machismo. Wow. And I kind of really like this choice. And I like that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are going to be, not that he's necessarily the same age as them, but they're not going up against some 25-year-old villain.
Well, and also, let's be clear, Eric Dane's never, he's not going to outshine Will or Martin. And none of the villains in the entire series have ever outshined Will or Martin, right? Chesky Cario was fine in the first movie. I don't remember who the villain was in the second movie. And then the villain in the third movie, they're not going to outshine the main guy. So Eric Dane is a good choice. He's got a smoldering look. He's got a fantastic body. He's got a great voice and interesting energy. Yeah, so to have him play the villain. Could he be the son of Chesky Cario? You can see maybe.
I actually could kind of see that. Right. But he has. There's kind of Josh Duhamel vibes a little bit, but he has a little bit more gravitas. He's a little bit more intimidating. Josh Duhamel is the lighter rom-com version of him.
Right.
So yeah, I like it if this turns out to be the case.
Yeah, I dig it. I think it's a great choice for sure. And he's him popping up every once in a while to do a theatrical film is a good thing for sure. All right. Oh yeah, I like this idea. He could play Deathstroke in James Gunn's DCU. Why not? I'd be down with that. All right. What else have we? What else? What you got going on over there? All right. Well, let's get the Harry Potter thing out of the way, dude. We should knock that out as well before
let's
he gets
knock it out, bro.
Okay. So, according to Deadline and a number of sources, this was like 2 or 3 days ago. It was announced that Harry Potter is going to get they're negotiating right now. Warner Brothers is with J.K. Rowling. They're in the final stages, apparently, from what they're reporting, of this negotiation with J.K. Rowling to get her approval to have her come on as a producer and consultant on this thing, because obviously you can't do anything without her approval on Harry Potter. And they are going to reboot the entire franchise and do 7 seasons where each season covers the one book. So all 7 books are going to be done, and each season will be a book. Now, each season will be. This caused a firestorm of controversy. A lot of people were upset. People were all up in their nostalgic feels, and were upset that this was happening. Someone who has worked in the Harry Potter land for 2 years, that's this guy right here, is a wand keeper, doing the shows, talking to people, seeing their love for Harry Potter, understanding the love for Potter. Somebody who enjoyed the Harry Potter movies for the most part. I actually wasn't mad about this. I think it's a smart business move. The kids are all grown up. You can only do so much with them. Let's start over again. And what's been the big complaint of the movies is the fans going, oh, I wish they'd done this storyline, or I wish they'd done that storyline. So now you're going to get a chance to live in it. But so many people are caught up in their nostalgic feels and believe that no one else can play these characters but these actors. What are your thoughts on this?
So here is what I heard. I heard that they, and again, you can take all of this with a grain of salt.
Okay.
Like a big ass grain. I heard that there had been talk of a Cursed Child movie.
Oh yeah.
Original cast. But there were problems. They didn't want to work with J.K. Rowling for obvious reasons. And that it was particularly hard to get Emma and Dan back, particularly Emma.
Yeah.
Emma is the toughest one to get back into this, particularly with everything that J.K. Rowling has said and stands for.
And still does say and stand for, yeah.
So it was like, I think that they tried, what I'd heard was that they tried to buy J.K. Rowling out.
Wow.
She requested an insane amount. So they just figured, all right, well, if we want to go forward with these characters, which we do, right, then we're stuck with her. So, it's going to be her. So, she's not going anywhere. All due respect to, Emma Watson or whatever. Yeah. And so then we'll reboot it, because that is what J.K. Rowling is willing to agree to.
Right.
So, I'm told that they are serious about making this show, although it is also potentially being used as leverage to get Emma and Dan back. Like,
really?
Like, yeah, if you guys don't come back, then you're not going to be Harry Potter anymore. Like, we're going to move on somebody else. And that is easier said than done, right?
Right, of course.
I'd heard that there were talk of pitches being set in America.
Wow.
And in Paris.
Okay.
But J.K. Rowling shot those pitches down because Harry Potter is a British property and should stay true to its roots.
I don't disagree with that.
And so what I've heard about this series is that they will make a concerted effort to cast more people of color.
Okay.
In the show, particularly with regards to the role of Hermione.
Ooh, okay.
Very well be an actress of color, and
causing more controversy. Yes.
You could also expect some veteran Potter writers to be involved with this show in some capacity. That is everything that I've heard on the Potter stuff.
Do you think she will just be a consultant and not write any of the scripts? Because that's been the big complaint about the Fantastic Beasts movies, or those horrible scripts that she wrote. And I know Steve Kloves came in at the end for the last one. It really wasn't that much better. So do you think that are you hearing, or do you know if they're keeping her away from the writing aspect of this and just having.
Yeah, I do not expect that J.K. Rowling will really be involved. Maybe she'll, maybe she'll be involved in like an early writer's room or something. But I don't think that she's going to be the one writing the show. No.
Yeah. But do you think people are being too pressured?
When I had heard that they were going to bring back some of the veteran Potter writers, I mean, I understand that in some respects, particularly as they find their footing and find what kind of show they want to do and how they're going to distinguish it and make it different. Yeah. But like, I think in that regard, you need new writers. You need fresh voices who aren't trying to copy what, the Radcliffe movies did.
And maybe a writer's room with, writers of, diversity, a more diverse writer's room to go in there and give their points of views. There are, Britain, London is a multicultural city. London is very distinctly so. So
more so than Maine, right?
Yeah, more so than Maine. Yes, I would say. Oh, we're definitely going to talk about your tweet, Jeff.
I hope we do. I hope we do.
But yeah, it's a multicultural city, so it makes all the sense in the world to have more people involved that are diverse to be a part of this thing. So it's going to be a firestorm as soon as they cast someone of color in any of the three main roles. It's absolutely going to be a big deal, and how they go about it. I just would love to see one Latino. I mean, there was definitely a black person, an Asian person. How about one Latino in there? We're in Europe. We're in Europe. So maybe it would be nice to have a little bit there, but we shall see. But yeah, good stuff. I know a lot of people are upset about it, but if there could be more than one person to play Superman or Batman or James Bond or any of these iconic characters, there can be more than one person to play Harry Potter, for God's sakes. And if they won't come back as a business, this is the logical decision. And if you're playing them against each other, fine, but you've got to get and there's no way Zaslav was going to pay her like $4 billion or whatever when they're trying to cut costs. It doesn't make sense. So, all right. What's the next thing? Should we talk about this one? Brandon asking, live action Moana already? Seriously? I'm still shocked that there's no traction for a live action Atlantis that had the voice of Michael J. Fox, or even a sequel to the $1 billion Jungle Book live action movie. Yeah. Jeff, The Rock came out, did a 2-minute video, as The Rock does in The Rock style, and you all know I'm a fan of The Rock, and presented a live-action Moana that is going to happen with him and the actors who voiced the lead. They're also appearing live-action as their characters. The cynical part of me is this is The Rock going back to a well to try to win back favor with the public. The other part of me is like, this might have been in production for a while or in conversations for a while, and they finally decided to hit the go button because his other stuff didn't quite work out. What are your thoughts on this situation?
My thoughts are, wasn't like Bob Iger talking about how like we can't just fall back on the familiar stuff and we've got to continue innovating and things like that. And I just feel like when you look at Bob Iger's moves and what he's done since he's returned, it's kind of just been more of the same. And like, play the greatest hits. That's why we're getting a new Toy Story and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. On one hand, I don't really have a problem with it because eventually this is going to happen with all of their movies.
Yeah.
It feels a little too soon.
Yeah.
Right. Like the cynical part of me is like, man, we can't like find other like live action fairy tales or other stories that we want to tell. Like we just told the story. Like,
yeah,
I don't really get it. Other than Moana was wildly successful and people will see this movie just like they saw the Lion King movie, which wasn't good.
No, was not good. And yet it made $1.6 billion.
Right, exactly. That's what we're talking about. Even if this is 25% less successful, right? And it makes $1.2 billion, like you're golden.
Now, let me ask you this. Because The Rock made such a big deal and because it's coming at an interesting time in The Rock's career, if this crashes and burns or doesn't do well at the box office, what are we looking at with The Rock now? How are we assessing The Rock at that point?
Listen, The Rock's going to be just fine, okay? Because eventually The Rock is going to have to embrace his destiny. Which is to be an absolute badass action star.
I agree, 100%.
Okay, I'm talking about like R-rated movies, cracking skulls, no more of this Mickey Mouse shit. Okay? So, Dwayne, if you're listening, I know you're going to eventually get around to that portion of your career.
Extraction 4, Dwayne Johnson.
In the meantime, you know what? Let him sing and dance around. He's still got young kids, and what am I going to say to this, man? This is money, right?
Yeah, make it happen for sure. All right, what do you want to move on to next, man? What's the other thing on your list here?
Along the Moana lines, like, what did you think of the Shrek 5 announcement?
Did they announce anything, or did they just say they were interested and they'd totally work with Eddie if Eddie wanted to do a donkey film? Was there another thing that I missed?
Oh, I thought I'd seen like everybody was back.
Oh yeah, they were saying they want to come back if they're interested in doing another one, but no one is saying that it's been locked down, right? Not that I saw. I just saw conversations about Donkey doing like a spin-off.
Maybe I misread the news or whatever, but I feel like with the success of Puss in Boots, right? Shrek has sort of been on the sidelines long enough where I think it's okay to bring it back.
Yes. This is what is. Meledandri said this in the interview with Variety. We anticipate the cast coming back. Talks are starting now, and every indication that we've gotten is there's tremendous enthusiasm on behalf of the actors to return. So yeah, sure. But it's, talks can be all you want until they actually sign the dotted line. And Cameron apparently walked away after the Jamie Foxx experience recently and maybe said she was done with acting again. So okay, all right. Good. This is great radio. Go ahead. Yes.
What else is on the list?
Well, what's your interest in this? Do you think it'll still sell? Do you think it'll do? I mean, the fourth one didn't do quite so well. And will a donkey spinoff really be what people are looking for? Do you think that would work with Eddie? Eddie hasn't had a lot of success with the recent films that he's released. So overall, do you anticipate?
How much does Eddie Murphy mean to an 8-year-old kid these days? But I do think that Donkey is a sort of beloved character. I mean, I've got a donkey toy, and I'm a 39-year-old man. Right over there.
Fair point. All right. Yeah, we'll see. If the script is good, and I'm down with it. I'm down with it for sure. All right. What else you got, man?
I've got so much shit, Johnny.
Well, then you take it away. Why you make me tee you up? Go ahead.
I'd like to make you sweat, bro.
Yeah, I know you do. All
right. Let's talk about Heat 2. There's been a lot. Was there a Streamlab that came in about Heat 2?
There was a super chat that came in for Heat 2. Yeah. They're asking, what have you heard anything more about it? And Heat 2, I need Jeff's thoughts. Thanks, guys. That's from Micah.
All right. So, the dust has sort of settled since Kroll's big report about Warner Brothers being in negotiations to pick up this.
Whoa. Is that them calling right now?
Yeah, that's them. Doesn't he? It's like these people don't know when my podcast is my own family. They just don't care.
Come on, guys. All right. What do you got?
All right. Now the dust has settled a little bit.
Yeah.
I've heard that we saw that there was news this week about Austin Butler signing on to City on Fire, right?
Yes.
Now, have you read that book, John?
I have not read that book, no.
It's an amazing book.
Okay.
It's so good. It's about like this uneasy truce between the Irish and the Italians in Rhode Island, like in Providence. And then basically this guy brings this girl to like this, barbecue. And then like some of the other guys say something and then there's a fight and they like beat the crap out of this guy. And the girl switches to the other guy who gets crap kicked out of him. And then it's like, all hell breaks loose. It's tremendous. So Austin Butler, my hat's off to him for getting this role. I didn't realize how old he is. Like, I think he's 31. I keep thinking of Austin Butler as like a kid. He's like a young man. And that is how old I pictured this character, Danny Ryan, like in his early 30s. It's a great book, great opportunity here for him. And that's why I'm told that He Too is not going to work out. Like that he's not going to end up being, young Val Kilmer or whatever. So I think Michael Mann may have already moved on that front. We'll see if it winds up being Chris Hemsworth, who he worked with on Black Hat, or maybe somebody like Garrett Hedlund. I'm not sure. The other thing that I'd heard about Heat 2 was that Adam Driver had his choice of roles.
What?
His choice, yes. And he
doesn't look like either one of those guys. What does that mean?
Well, I think that's sort of the point. I mean, he's obviously much taller than both of them. But that he was drawn, I was told he was drawn to the stoic nature of Neil McCauley.
Of course. It's the cooler role. It is. It's the cooler role. Why
I mean,
not?
a lot of people felt like Adam Driver could have done like the big Pacino
Of course.
sort of thing, but I think he likes that sort of like calm, cool, like I'm a soldier on the inside sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No need to see him punch more holes in walls like we saw in Marriage Story. So much more relaxed guy. That's a good thing. I like it works. I mean, if he's going to do it, it'd be fine. The thing about the Austin Butler thing, that's a trilogy. I was looking at it right now. That's a trilogy of films or books. So if he was to, this could be a mini franchise that launches for him if it turns out to be a good product in the end.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, on the Superman front.
Yeah, what are you hearing?
A little, these just minor updates.
Sure.
So until I got this tip, I have sort of, been on the side of my columnist, Jamie Williams, who argued that Superman is likely going to be in his 30s. When you look at past Supermen who've been cast and some of the images that James Gunn has put out, and just X, Y, and Z. He laid out a very thoughtful, efficient argument, I thought. But a good source has told me that even though James Gunn has barely told his casting director anything, I'm told that the one note that the agencies have right now for Superman is young.
Wow.
So I am now expecting Superman, the actor who's going to be playing him, to be in his early to mid 20s. That's my new forecast. Is going to be 22 to 26.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does that bring to? I mean, who's out there right now?
I don't know, but I mean, I'm gonna have to adjust my list, and it could very well be an unknown. Like I said, the site has sort of put forth these two guys in this race for the last few months and change or whatever. But I think if they're maybe both a little too old, according to this source who says that the agencies are looking at young. The thing that I'm told is that Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and Lex Luthor are all in the movie.
Oh, okay.
I'm told that those characters. I mean, I don't know what else we expected here.
Right.
I guess Lex is always like, well, we don't know if they're going to do Lex Luthor or not, but I'm told Lex is in the movie, as are Lois and Jimmy, as expected, and that they're really looking for the model here, as you might expect it is, particularly these days, is a young Chris Pratt type, a young farm boy type. With that, who, and it's okay for him to have that sort of like body that he's kind of got to grow into a little.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What I was thinking. And if it all depends on and it seems like they're not going to continue with the Shazam franchise the way it is. I mean, Asher Angel was barely in the movie in the second Shazam movie. He has a nice look for Superman. He's kind of grown into his looks. And I could see him playing, instead of Billy Batson, moving over to play Clark Kent. That could be really interesting. But I don't know if they do that, but that's a possibility.
Is it going to wind up being like Noah Centineo?
No, Noah's already in. I mean, I guess they could move him over from Atom Smasher if they're not going to continue with that Justice Society.
That's right.
Some people I see some people mentioning Timothy Chalamet. I mean, that name keeps popping up. Do you think he would get into the gym to become?
I don't think he would do it. I don't think his reps would advise him to do it. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think he's James Gunn's type either. I don't think he's like,
yeah. All right.
So that's the update on the Superman front.
Okay.
Now on the DC front, I mean, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of and I don't know what rumors are legit and what not. I don't know if I'm starting rumors or responding to rumors that have already been out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chatter about what the next movie is going to be, though, right? Besides Superman Legacy,
right.
I mean, we know what the slate is. I mean, according to the timeline that he laid out, and this is what I'm told, is it is going to be The Authority, and that The Authority will come out in 2026.
Okay.
There have been a lot of Matthew Vaughn rumors out there surrounding The Authority, apparently. But I'm told he's also developing the next Kingsman movie, so I don't even know if he would be available in time to get an Authority movie ready for 2026. There are a lot of rumors that first of all, there's a lot of rumors out there just about DC projects. Supposedly, the word on the street is that there's actually 25 projects.
Holy shit!
That James Gunn has sort of like in mind, at least. and that, you know, those might include a Superman versus the Authority movie.
Right.
You know, if Superman's the first movie and the Authority's the second movie, stands to reason, if they are in fact going in that direction, Superman versus the Authority could be a movie down the line.
Yeah.
I'm told that, you know, that there are plans, in fact, for a solo Lobo movie, which has also been rumored. You know, Boris put that out there. Yeah. So, you know, I'm not like really making or breaking news here or anything. I'm just like, this is just what came in this week.
Yeah. And I'm sure 25 projects doesn't mean all 25 of them are going to get made.
Right.
It means you're looking at all 25 of these
development slate.
Yeah, you got people developing it, and whichever one's going to come through, the best is going to get made. They're not all 25 going to get made, but yeah, you want to give yourself options.
So, you know, this person said like each chapter, right, will be like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Which I guess how long is a phase in Marvel? 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, about 3 years. Yeah, it's been the standard.
You know, I mean, maybe they meant 4 or 5 movies. I don't know how many movies DC's planning to release every year or whatever. I think with all of this up in the air, though, and all these balls in the air, and James Gunn also, you know, I'm told that he's really putting a focus into games lately. So expect to hear some gaming news soon, and where games fit into, you know, his plans for the DC universe. I think we'll have some more, you know, traction on that front soon. But with all of that, I think you can safely expect a new showrunner for Peacemaker season 2.
Oh, damn! Really?
I would be very surprised if James Gunn was back to show that show. Don't you think?
Yeah, I guess you're right, because he's going to be so busy.
And that's just like, it's not like it's like it's a show. It's not the show.
Right.
I think he needs to be focused on doing the show. You know what I mean?
Right. That's a shame. I mean, he's such a great voice on that, and I wonder how that's going to work out in the end to see who they find. You know, because Killing Eve, the first season was excellent. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, great stuff. Nothing against Emerald Fennell, but I think she was a little bit out of her depth in the second season, and it showed. And the third season kind of righted things a little bit. So the showrunner really does matter. You know, we saw in Walking Dead, there's the constant changing of the showrunners.
I mean, at the end of the day, James Gunn, he's still going to be involved because he's coming out of DC Studios or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just don't think he'll be able to be there like day to day handling season 2 of that show. So, and James Gunn may come out and say, Jeff, you're an idiot. I am, you know, after this live stream. But, you know, this is just what comes to mind for me. What else? I'm told that one of the big 3 is getting an animated project.
Ooh. By big 3, you mean Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman? Is that what you mean?
I believe so.
Now, animated project, how? Like, because they do animated films. I mean, there's a Batman film that just dropped.
No, I'm not talking about like one of these like tossed off, like
you're talking Across the Spider-Verse. That's what
I'm talking about. Something real, like something that would have a marketing budget behind it, not like a direct-to-video thing that people consider to be canon or whatever.
Gotcha.
No.
Okay.
There's like a real animated project. I don't know if it's a series. You know, maybe it's a Harley Quinn type of series. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But, supposedly an animated thing in the works about one of the big 3. Let me see if there's any.
Now, he said in his, you know, presentation, you were there live for that presentation. He said he was going to use the same actor across all the mediums. So would this be a situation where the actor, whoever gets cast as this character, will also do the animated series? Is that part of the negotiation?
That very well could be.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a bad line of thinking. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I know people are asking about the Frank Grillo stuff. You know, I don't have any confirmation on the Frank Grillo stuff other than, you know, he said he's part of the DCU.
Yeah.
I think that the earliest project that's going to come out from the DCU, the project that is probably casting right now, is Creature Commandos. Right. So that stands to reason. I mean, he also kind of makes sense for that world.
Yeah.
You know, people have said, oh, is he voicing Rick Flag Sr.? It could be that. It could be Dr. Phosphorus. I don't know. The other rumored cast members are, you know, Sean Gunn would be back as Weasel. And we've heard Ron Perlman potentially.
Of course.
Somewhere in there. So I don't know what like Frank Grillo's role is, but I imagine it's one of those 2, and that we'll probably see Creature Commandos, if not next fall, like fall 2024, then in early 2025, but almost certainly before Superman Legacy.
Wow. Oh, so yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because he said that was farther along. That makes sense. Okay. What else have you got? Or should we take a break here? Because we're at the half an hour.
Take a break.
Okay.
Take a break.
Let's take a break here. We'll be back with some more stuff and to answer some of your super chats right after this. All right, we got 500 of you joining us right now. Thanks so much for joining us live. Please make sure you hit a like on this video and subscribe to the channel down below. If you're watching later, leave a comment, hit a like, subscribe, and also share this stuff on your social media. Get more people to come over and hang out with us on the hot mic as well. All right, let's hit some of these real quick, Jeff.
No. We're going to save that stuff for the end of the show. We got a lot of stuff.
Okay, let's go. Go ahead. What's next?
All right. So let's talk about my tweet first of all, because it's going to lead into something. I got it all queued up here.
You've got it all queued up.
What are you? All of a sudden, you're racist for not thinking that there is a huge black population in Maine?
I mean, listen, people were upset with your tweet.
Why?
And so
why?
Because they felt that you were essentially implying that Maine is all white. Now, I do want to clarify this.
It's Maine.
Jeff is a New England boy. He's a Boston bred boy. So I feel like the people criticizing you who've never been to Maine,
right,
might have what knowledge would they have to criticize what your experience was like in New England? I'm not excusing it or saying Jeff was right or wrong. I'm saying this is a logical track to go down in taking a look at this situation. And it wasn't like he was saying it was negative.
In terms of casting a TV show, if someone's like, yeah, I'm making a TV show in Maine, I wouldn't be like, oh, the 3 of the first 4 cast members are going to wind up being black. Like, by the way, I liked it. I liked the sound of that. And I thought that maybe, 3 of the 4 black leads, are one of them Pennywise, or is there going to be a black Pennywise? Like, I don't fucking know. It sounds cool. It sounds different.
Yeah.
I love that you can get criticized for that in this day and age by saying, I didn't see a show about black people being like set in Maine.
Yeah. I will say this. There's an interesting approach here. If you make the lead actors here black, and then you have a white clown, there's a lot of social commentary you can make about that situation, especially in an area of the country where, white is the predominant by a lot, not just by a little, by a lot there, the predominant number of people that are in that area. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a news flash that New England, which doesn't have the greatest track record, by the way, for race relations, might have a situation where there's way less black people than white people. So I get where you were coming from.
Unbelievable to me. These
people were very upset about
probably don't even know who Chris Chalk or Giovanna Depo are, right? I mean, it's just this instinctive reaction. White man saying something about black people. It's the same thing that got me fired from Magical. Like, all I'm saying is that black people deserved Oscars that year. Yeah. Big controversy. People are like
this. The Barbie. I like the Barbie. That's good stuff.
Did somebody make that for me?
Yeah, somebody made that.
It's really quite ridiculous. And I just love all the delete this that's like tweets. What is the impulse to tweet delete this? Is it like, oh, thank God Jeff Sneider deleted that tweet. I feel so much better now. I feel like the world is safer now that tweet has been deleted. Thank you.
Do you know? I mean, are you watching Perry Mason? Because Chris is fucking great on Perry Mason.
He's great. He was the one I was excited about in that announcement.
Yeah.
This
season has been
really
this season has been way better than season 1, and he's been an essential reason why it's been way better than season 1. Yeah.
I love how Twitter will twist everything into something. And what's sad is that, like, if I had an editor who was on Twitter or an owner or whatever, like, maybe they'd give a shit about these like 30 or 40 quote tweets that are like, this guy is a disgrace to his profession. You should have seen some of the tweets. And it's like, we don't even know what racism is anymore. We've totally lost track of it.
We lost the plot is what you're saying.
We don't even know what it is. Anyways, the reason that I bring this up is because I've heard that Bill Skarsgard is in fact going to be back as Pennywise.
Whoa!
In this series, despite his claims to the contrary.
Really?
I've heard that he's working on a deal to come back.
Wow. That would be great because, I mean, we all just enjoyed him in John Wick 4. So seeing him to come back.
Did you enjoy it? I didn't think he was that great.
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was good for what he did. But seeing him come back to do this role, I think would be a lot of fun. And like I said, if it's a predominantly black cast, that could really add a whole, especially if it's a prequel series. So we're going back into like the 50s and whatever. So it could be very interesting, or back even earlier, very interesting to see how we explore race relations in that context of horror. So
I think he was really good as Pennywise. And so you can't just keep recasting that role.
Yeah.
I don't think, right?
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
So, yeah. And especially if it ties in some way to the movies that Muschietti made or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think it's probably a good thing for the series that he is coming back. If that, in fact, is true, it's just a rumor.
It carries over. So it works. All right. What's our next thing?
All right, we're going to stay with Warner Brothers. We're
Okay.
going to stay with the studio because this goes into another thing. So what did you think of the Barbie trailer, John?
I like the Barbie trailer. I mean, here's what I said, because I did a reaction to it. It's a teaser trailer.
You're like a grown man doing a reaction to the Barbie trailer.
I gotta get views, son. And it allows me to relax for 3 hours waiting, till I do another video. So I like doing those little trailer reactions. But anyway, I want to open my mind. And so I watched it. I did a teaser trailer reaction. So this one, there's still no story. And so it was just even more of the world of Barbie and getting a glimpse of the diverse cast with Simu Liu and Issa Rae and America Ferrera and other people popping up. Will Ferrell showing up, and then they get to announce the entire, and the cast is certainly chock full of Asians, Latinos, blacks, whites. It's a good mix of people. It's the United Colors of Benetton. So it was nice, but it's such an interesting departure for Greta Gerwig. So we end the trailer with the flip into the real world. What does that mean? What is going to happen? And I guess they're waiting for the official trailer to come out till they show you what the actual story is. That being said, they certainly laid the groundwork for Barbie Land very strongly about the vibrancy of that land. What did you think?
I mean, it looks fun. It looks like the total opposite of Oppenheimer, right? Which is why, I bet they both stay on that day. Certainly doesn't seem like either one of them is blinking.
I don't think they're going black and white on Barbie.
So, I mean, I think it's going to be a big hit, and I had a great time with the Barbie, self-image generator and everything.
Yeah.
I thought that was a lot of fun. Anyways, what I'd heard, though, was that Greta sort of struggled in post, which is not something that is unfamiliar to a lot of, these filmmakers who make indie movies.
Yeah.
Who often do big budget things that require a lot of VFX. She has no VFX experience. So I'd heard that she brought in a few different filmmaker friends of hers and editors to help in post.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting at with this part of it is that I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up not doing the Narnia movie that she's been rumored to do.
Oh, really?
I just don't know if her
because of that experience or because that is delayed.
Had a great time
doing
all the Barbie VFX and that kind of stuff. I don't know if those are the stories that she really wants to tell and how she wants to spend her time, futzing with every, all the effects and, overseeing this huge pipeline and everything. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but I just, from the reports that I've heard behind the scenes on Barbie, I just wouldn't be surprised if the Narnia stuff fell through.
Yeah, all right. That makes sense. I mean, she tried. It's just a big studio film. I'm sure it wasn't easy. Like, how do I write something that makes fun of Barbie but doesn't make fun of Barbie? Mattel is a producer, so they're not going to let you fuck with their cash cow. So how do I tell this story and still make it topical? We see in the Super Mario Brothers, how they make fun of the overdone Italian accents in that commercial. There's elements of that in that movie as well. So how to walk that line is not easy. So I imagine there was a lot of stress and pressure on her to do this and the money and the visual effects. So maybe first, like, you know what, I'm going to do a small independent film for a while and just relax a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised. But, nothing wrong with taking a chance, see what you can do as a director, spreading your wings. I don't know if anyone's clamoring for a Narnia film, to be honest with you, but anyway. Right.
So sticking with Barbie for a second.
Yeah.
The guy who understood the assignment, Ryan Gosling, right?
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
What's Ryan Gosling doing next?
Oh, I thought it was Barbie. What do you mean? It's coming soon.
He has Barbie, and he just wrapped David Leitch's new movie, The Fall Guy, right? With Emily Blunt. So that's like, going to be like his bullet train, if you will.
Right.
But now he's free.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
He's got like Wolfman on his plate and, like a couple of other like development titles like Project Hail Mary. that are like kind of just like in development right now. So he has this slot. Like, how is Ryan Gosling spending his summer, his fall, whatever it is? So there's a little rumor going around now. This is early. This is early.
Okay.
I really don't know if this is going to end up being true.
Right.
But it was interesting nonetheless. There is a big movie that is in the works at Warner Brothers from J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, and that is the Pinkerton movie.
Oh, shit. Right. We've talked about the Pinkerton movie on the hot mic.
So I've heard Gosling's name float to the surface, if you will.
That's such a perfect
movie. Now, you have to understand that Gosling's name floats to the surface of every Warner Brothers project, right?
Sure.
Right? I mean, the Ocean's 11 prequel, Blade Runner, just crazy, stupid. I mean, he's Warner Brothers kind of like guy, if you will. I think they even picked up his fucking directorial debut that nobody saw. That was not good. Lost River. I think that was distributed by like Warner Brothers International. So he's very much their guy. Yeah. And Pinkerton is a project that they have high hopes for, and they do want to do something with Bad Robot, right? And JJ, while they have him up there, obviously they've been paying him a fuck ton of money to not do a whole lot. Yeah. So that's just keep an eye on Gosling or someone on that level where they want a big star for Pinkerton.
It would be a Western, wouldn't it? Kind of like a Western.
Yeah, a little. It might have some Western elements, which again is something that maybe Gosling hasn't really done much of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I could totally see Ryan doing a Western. He'd look really good doing a Western. So I'm down with that situation.
So that's the Warner Brothers of it all. Now I do have Star Wars stuff, but let me just get the Safdie stuff out of the way.
Okay, Safdie, bring it.
This was just a little update on last week's episode. So a tipster chimed in and wanted to sort of explain things, right? Okay, so we were right about Ben Affleck.
Wow.
Ben Affleck is in talks to do the Safdie brothers.
Okay.
He wasn't. They didn't go to him first, and it was a budget thing. So they went to Benicio del Toro. He passed, and that's why it's Gael Garcia Bernal. They went to Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
For this Affleck project, but he passed because he was expecting a big payday. Because he just did the Leonard Bernstein movie Maestro for them, right? For Netflix. So he's like, I just did Maestro for you. It came out better than like anybody expected.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking to get paid. Popping up in the Safdie movie, and Netflix, it's a budget thing, right? And they are trying to rein in the budgets over there. They're not just like spending, it's not a free for all.
Right.
So what I'm told, and again, there was the allegations against Sebastian Baron McLeod and where the Safdies fall into that and everything. Yeah. What I was told is that as long as Sandler stays attached to this project, Netflix is going to go through with it.
Wow.
Because Sandler is the golden goose over there.
Right.
But things will be done differently on that set. Okay, they're not like the Safdies. I think we're expecting Netflix to shell out. Oh, we want Bradley Cooper, fucking pay the guy. We want Benicio del Toro, fucking pay the guy. They didn't get the red carpet treatment. And a lot of that is because they don't have Scott Rudin this time.
Right.
They don't have Scott Rudin protecting them and getting them certain things because he's Scott Rudin. So he's gone now, and A24 is not around. So there's just like no one around to like corral them. And so that's why I'm told Netflix is sort of like keeping, things tight.
Wow. Okay.
But I am told that things with Affleck are progressing well.
Good.
I want to see if there's anything else. Right, we got Marvel and Star Wars stuff left. Let's but real quickly, what about the Bond stuff?
What are you hearing? I haven't heard anything of the Bond stuff. What are you hearing?
The rumor that came out this week?
No. What are you hearing?
About Phoebe Waller-Bridge being.
Oh yes, I did read that she would do the next James Bond film. Right, I did read that.
Direct the new Bond. I mean, that's interesting. It's I have to say it passed the smell test. If she did in fact strike up this friendship and the level of trust with Barbara Broccoli, would they like to have a female director for that franchise? That is interesting.
Didn't she come in as like a co-writer on the new Bond stuff? Yeah. So or the most recent Bond stuff. So yeah, I could see that. And maybe to stay a little bit progressive ahead of the times. And plus she's British, so she understands the impact of James Bond's the character on the British psyche and British entertainment. So you have that.
Directed anything of that level, of course.
No.
But then again, look what Marvel does. I mean, Marvel,
Right.
that's half the directors that they have of it.
Cary Fukunaga had never directed at that level and did No Time to Die. So it's certainly possible. And she's incredibly talented and brilliant. So a woman's point of view on the Jane, you'll get the neckbeards being mad about it. But I think overall, it'd be an interesting thing to see what her take on it would be.
I don't understand why anybody would be like mad that a woman is directing a Bond movie.
Are you kidding? Are you fucking kidding?
It's one thing to change Bond's sex on screen or whatever, it's gender, but I just don't get that. So anyways, that passed the smell test this week. We'll see. It still feels a little early, but I guess when it comes to a Bond director, it's never early enough.
Do you think she will have input on who the next Bond is, or do you think it'll be the Broccoli's and she won't have anything to do with it, even if she's the director? Do you think they might consult her? I'm not saying they get her approval.
Only if she's hired as the director.
Okay.
I mean, I think if there is a director on it, then yes, that director will have a say in who the next Bond is.
Fair enough.
So it's a matter of who's going to be trusted with that. Could Mendes go back? I thought it was very interesting this week with Chloe Zhao taking over that Sam Mendes movie cabinet. I know he's been developing some other project too, and I'm forgetting what it is. So maybe he was never really planning to direct that himself, and he was always just going to produce it. I'm not quite sure what his real plan was there, but it was just interesting that Chloe Zhao came in and took that Hamnet movie away.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got?
And that's the one that Tom Holland is supposedly, attached to or whatever, or that I'd heard that he was going to do. But with the MGM stuff and Bond, remember we'd done a list of like 6 MGM movies that, properties to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
The one that I hear is starting to heat up is Poltergeist.
Ooh,
so
okay.
We'll see what happens with that property. The only other thing that I'd heard, there was something about
Some of these people in the chat are cracking me up. Bond is for men.
Well, okay. What do you think of Super Mario? I saw it last night.
Oh, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I don't know what people saw, what movie they saw, or maybe they're just too hardcore Mario lovers. I went in and I was like, oh man, I hope I can just get through this movie. And I was just enjoying it. I thought Chris Pratt did a nice job with the slight Italian accent. Charlie Day, when they let him be on screen, was great. Jack Black's fucking songs almost stole the movie. The Little Blue Star was great. I thought Anya Taylor-Joy was okay and got better as they gave her more to do as the film went along. But the animation is gorgeous. The way they mixed the Donkey Kong land, I think Fred Armisen and Seth Rogen were great as the Kong people. So to me, overall, I had a great time. And by the time it was over, I was like, I can't wait for a sequel. So I don't understand all these negative reviews. It really is kind of a shock to me. What about you?
I mean, I think it's tough. It's tough for me to have to be cynical about that movie. Like it delivered everything a Mario fan could want.
Yeah,
it was a pretty simple, basic story.
Sure, guys want to prove themselves. Yeah, basic story. Yeah,
but there was something sweet to that, and I like that it wasn't some 2.5 hour let's just cram all this nonsense story and to the point where you stop caring. It's like it leaves you wanting more. Yeah. And I thought it was just kind of the perfect length, 93 minutes. Now, did you stay through the credits and see So we won't spoil what that post-credit sequence is, but stay through the credits. I really liked what it was teasing.
Yes.
And I think, is it even some big breaking news thing to say that Super Mario 2 is in the works?
Yeah, I don't think so. Because especially what's projecting right now, I think they're projecting $142 million opening. You immediately greenlight a sequel if that's what actually happens. I think it might be more. Yeah. The cinema score is an A. So that tells
me. Breaking news here on the Hot Mic. Super Mario Brothers 2 is in the works. It is. It's in the works. It's happening.
We're crawling out on a limb here.
They didn't bring back the same writer too. You don't mess with success.
I agree. 2 things connected to this, though. I want to get your thoughts on this, Jeff. One, some people are accusing the critics of purposely dissing this movie because of the controversies that have surrounded Chris Pratt, his religion stuff, the stuff he said about
Twitter has its knives out for Chris Pratt.
Yeah, what do you think that's a legitimate thing? A lot of people dinged Steven Spielberg's West Side Story and said nobody went to see it because of Ansel Elgort and his issues. I
can't even pretend to put myself in the shoes of critics or what they're thinking most of the time. Because I think these people are so delusional. and the slightest offense can trigger some horrible negative review or whatever. That would be sad if Chris Pratt's religion plays any role in the reviews that he's getting.
I think that's the dangerous thing that we're seeing from some critics, like people who went after Richard Jewell. That's a damn good movie, but people are like, no, it's a red state director. Fuck that guy. Let me try negative stuff. That kind of shit is what is going to cause the divisions to get wider and wider. And I think this is the dumbest thing in the world to let your personal politics get in the way of you looking at a movie. If it's legitimately good and you review it, you got to be honest and say it's legitimately good.
But if you let your personal politics too,
yeah.
I mean,
the other thing is John Leguizamo's comments. I got to talk to you about this. John Leguizamo, who was in the terrible Mario Brothers, terrible Mario Brothers movie. Don't retcon that bullshit. It was terrible. We're allowed to hate movies, for God's sakes. He's saying that he's not going to go see this new Mario Brothers movie because they didn't put a Latino character in the movie. Now, Jeff, I advocate for Latinos being in just about everything. But something like this is not a hill, animated or live action, that you want to die on. I think this is a ridiculous.
I'm ready to die on the hill. We needed a Latino Koopa Troopa with an accent. What?
Come on. It frustrates me because I think John is usually right when he calls out underrepresentation or minority representation or Latino representation. I'm usually on Leguizamo's side, but on this one, I think it's a little ridiculous, especially because you were in a shitty version of those characters movie. Why do you think you have any leg to stand on to go after? And as a Latino, I'm saying this, I think it's ridiculous, to be honest.
I just think representation in general is ridiculous. I don't think we need representation. I think stories should be stories.
You're insane.
Tell them how with whoever you need to tell them. Right?
You're an insane white man, and that needs to stop. So go ahead.
Yeah. But with Pratt, we put up a good piece today. We had a new contributor.
Okay.
On Above the Line about whether Chris Pratt is a movie star or not, or whether he's just the symptom of all the Hollywood IP that he has been in and been a 100%. Part of.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that he is a versatile actor. I think that he could be a movie star, but he needs to take risks. Yeah. You got to challenge yourself, and you can only do what you're offered. And obviously, these franchises have eaten up so much of his schedule, over the last 5 years or whatever it's been. But yeah, I want to see, what is Chris Pratt beyond these franchises.
Yeah, but it's irrelevant. He's trying to do different, like Passengers crashed and burned. He's trying to do different.
No. So I had this conversation with the writer, the other day. So Passengers is too early. It's too early for you to say, is he a movie star based on this? First of all, that's not even a Chris Pratt movie. That's a Jennifer Lawrence movie that Chris Pratt co-starred in, I feel
that's fair. That's fair.
Sort of how it was marketed.
Okay.
But I don't think that he was fully Chris Pratt. That was 7 years ago.
Yeah. True. Okay.
So I get where you're going with that being the example, but I don't think we've had the example yet. I don't think we've seen it. Even something like maybe it would have been the Tomorrow War. And when the Tomorrow War sort of, I think, would have crashed and burned in theaters,
probably
maybe he would have been exposed. But it was, instead it was a hit, and it was a hit because it was on Amazon.
Yeah,
right? And so it's a hit for that streamer. Would it have been a hit for Netflix? I don't know.
Right.
But for Amazon, it's a huge success, and so it's a success for him in the end.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see him. I see him as a movie star that people know his name, but he's not a movie star that could necessarily carry a film that wasn't a franchise. Could he start a franchise from scratch? I mean, you could argue Lego movie, but that's animated, right? There's sorry, Mom. There's he would have to he stepped into Jurassic World. That was already established with Jurassic Park. So what is he really kind of
calling me now? Your mom's calling me 1 second.
Yeah, let me hear your Spanish. I'll be so curious to hear that conversation.
Oh man, I'm a Spanish dropout in 8th grade, I think.
See, that's all you would do. Yeah, and I like Tomorrow War, even though I agree with you, it wouldn't have done well because some people probably would have had an issue with the third act. But I liked Tomorrow War, so I think you're right. He's a good actor. Yeah,
I'm just saying. I think Pratt is a versatile guy. There are not many actors who can do the 3 things very well, which is action, romance, and comedy.
Yes.
Seriously. Tom Cruise can't even really do them.
Romance is not really Tom's thing.
No.
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 Like Pacino. Pacino can't do romance.
No, I thought the romance in Top Gun Maverick was very good. But
Yeah.
like someone like Ryan Reynolds can.
Right.
And what Chris Pratt even has going for him in a way that Ryan Reynolds, Brad Pitt, Clooney don't, is that he can play an everyman.
Yeah.
You know, like, so like George Clooney can't play the fucking everyman. I don't think.
I mean, yeah, no, not really. I mean, he was like he tried in like Peacemaker, but I do think the most recent one, he's just a dad in that situation. He's not like a superstar dad. He's just a dad in that one, so he can play it. It's just not his natural thing. By the way, last night I watched about an hour of Out of Sight. If you need to remember how good of a fucking actor he is, watch Out of Sight. How good is Soderbergh? Right,
one of the great movies, John.
Hell yeah, that's like Soderbergh's sweet spot. That movie, man.
So with Pratt, I'd heard that Pratt and his Onward co-star Tom Holland were going to do something else together in the live action realm. Okay. I don't know what that is ultimately going to be. We'll see if that ultimately comes to fruition. I also heard Tom Holland was circling some other video game movie at Sony, but I don't know what that could be either. So like these are very thin wisps of whatever. And then the last thing I wanted to note was that I'd heard The Bear is obviously coming back for season 2 soon.
Yes.
I've heard it's already been renewed for season 3.
Holy shit.
Obviously, FX and Hulu are very high on that show. So yeah, I've heard The Bear season 3 is coming. By the way, do you think Zelda is going to happen? Like
Zelda?
Do you think that there'll be a Zelda movie? And with the success of Super Mario, does Nintendo say, "All right, now we'll give you Zelda"? Does it go to Illumination?
100%. I think it would absolutely happen because Sonic has done well, and I think Super Mario Brothers is going to do well. So this is the time because we're seeing, this whole narrative of the video game movie or video game television show not being what I think that's kind of done. We might still get some clunkers, but I think it's kind of done. I think there are creators who are much more talented creators who are looking at these situations and wanting to take them on and have a real love for the property, but also an incredible knowledge to understand how to transfer it. And I think Super Mario's did that. Both Sonic films did that. So I think now is the time where you find these creators who come in and will do a good a Zelda film. So yeah, plus the action adventure stuff, dude. I mean, that's if you get it right, you get a whole legion of fans to go behind you for that. Yeah.
All right, before we get to the Star Wars stuff, I do want to take questions and everything on the Marvel front really quick. Someone mentioned that Chris McKenna and Eric Summers might be working on another Marvel movie, possibly writing the next Spider-Man. I don't know. I have no idea. They also mentioned that Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer's draft of Fantastic Four was fine, but they brought in that new writer to get it to the level that Kevin Feige and Matt Shakman wanted. But Marvel is still open to working with Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer again. Although apparently, Kevin Feige does want to hire more established talent behind the camera, I'm told. I'm also told that Matt Shakman is planning to go very cosmic with his Fantastic Four movie, a lot of 1960s elements, and that the film will feature both Galactus and the Silver Surfer.
Okay. All right. I like it.
So we've got the big Star Wars stuff. That's all I have left for this show. Do we want to take some questions before?
Yeah, let's take some questions, man. And then actually let's take a break and then we'll take questions and then we'll do the Star Wars news because when we go over half an hour, I have to put a commercial in. So I'll be right back. I will be right back right after this. All right, we got 600 of you joining us right now. Thanks so much. Real quick reminder, please remember to hit a like on this video. Leave a comment if you're watching it later. And if you're watching live right now like you are, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe down below and hit that bell button. I got a crazy idea to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Help us all do that and support all the stuff we got going on the Outlaw Nation channel. All right, Jeff, let's hit some of these questions that people want to know about. I might have to read some of these because they're a little farther back. Gallia Production says all these Dwayne stands are worried about Moana, but I'm over here asking, where is my Jungle Cruise 2?
Could you
certainly at the Oscars? Yeah.
No, go ahead, John. I
was going to say certainly at the Oscars, we saw the chemistry between Emily and The Rock is still very much there. What do you hear, Jeff? Do you hear anything?
No. Who could possibly want a sequel to that movie? Please, God, no.
This guy, I enjoyed it. They have great chemistry. Well, if don't do a sequel, at least put them together in a film.
Put them in something else then. Yeah. Jesus.
I think you can do a Mr. and Mrs. Smith remake with those two.
I would do a million things with the two of them.
It's a fair point. Fair point. Dalton Johnson says, any updates on Alex Garland's Civil War?
No, but I'm very curious about that one. That's going to be on my most anticipated films of the year's list, which was supposed to publish in January, but is now publishing next week.
All right. Goopy G says, odds the writer's strike happens like it did in 2008. Jeff?
I still don't know. Yeah. I mean, they're ready to strike. It's just a matter of whether the studios will let it get to that point.
Yeah, because I was here.
I don't think
here.
Sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
You go.
I was gonna say, I was here in 2008, and I don't feel the same sense of like, we're gonna do this that I don't feel that now like I did in 2008. Like you knew it was gonna happen. This, I don't know, it seems kind of up in the air. Like nobody wants it to happen, but so they're trying to give every possible option, it feels like.
I mean, I think that they know, like, just the reality of the situation. Everything's changed. Like, how can you not own up to that and try to even the scores? Yeah, I think that's. I don't think it'll happen. I don't.
Okay. Owen Lanning says, Jeff, what's your favorite superhero movie other than The Crow? So I guess what's your second favorite superhero movie?
There's three that I hold in very high regard. Although, then you've got, yes, there's three that I think are great. The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Logan.
Yes, Logan.
And Kick-Ass.
Those are Jeff Sneider superhero movies. If someone was to give me a list, I would know immediately those are Jeff Snyder's choices.
Yeah. Fucking Kick-Ass is great.
Yeah. Kick-Ass is damn good. I wish the sequel had.
But yours.
Yeah. Mine? Oh, there's too many. Come on, there's too many.
Give me like 2 or 3.
Fine. Yes, I agree with you. Logan is my number one. It will always be my number one. Nothing will ever touch Logan. It's just too emotional of a film. Of course, The Dark Knight, which is the easy choice for sure. I mean, I like Avengers Endgame. I like Infinity War. I loved Spider-Man No Way Home. So those are some of mine. And of course, 1978 Superman and Man of Steel. Come at me, bro. Phil P says, happy birthday, Bruce. Happy celebration. Woo! So I guess Bruce's birthday today. Happy birthday,
Bruce. We're going to make you happy in a few minutes, buddy.
Yeah, we got some Star Wars news coming, guys. Don't dip out. We just got to get through these super chats. Don Reynaldo McWhiskey says, just sending support. Love y'all's hot takes and accurate predictions based on reasonable evidence. Good detective work. Yeah. A lot of people doubt your scoops and they come true. And I don't see follow-up tweets where they say, I was an asshole for doubting Jeff Sneider. I'd like those follow-up tweets, kind of like a correction in the newspaper where they say, I was stupid to doubt him. Mitch Jensen just sent us some support. Brandon says, Wolfgang Novogratz and David Corenswet always pop up in my Instagram feeds as possible Superman candidates. I don't know either of those two guys, Jeff.
I am familiar with them. They both have a great look, but I just don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I don't necessarily see it.
Okay. Jacob Alardi, hands down for Superman. He is excellent in Euphoria, and he's 25, right in that age range. Jeff?
I mean, I think he's good. Yeah. It's just tough for me to see him as Superman when I've seen things he's done on that show. Hey, this guy stands for truth, justice, the American way, and then there'll be some meme of him doing something absolutely horrible on Euphoria.
Listen, come on, man. Christopher Reeve played a villain, before, so come on. The Antagonistic Anonymous says, thoughts on the new writer for Fantastic Four? Any particular reasons for the rewrite? Perhaps a new direction for the film? Hiring from Avatar 2 is a strong choice.
I mean, basically, like I just said, that last draft was good. It just wasn't quite on the level. There's a lot writing, obviously, on Fantastic Four. They have this, it can't just be good. I mean, lately, look at the fucking Marvels, the movies that Marvel's been putting out. It hasn't even been at the level of good. So they're really pushing to get it perfectly. And that's why they're bringing this other writer.
All of a sudden, every other film now has the pressure on them. Now the pressure's on them. The fans are coming for them. Oh, the fine folks are late to the party hanging out with us. And it's talking about Barbie. And yet there's no money to be made on the Barbie reactions due to WB claiming all the videos. They did. WB claimed it. So I didn't make any money, but I got some views. So fuck it. Views are good.
What do you think about, last week we'd mentioned Jonathan Majors, that Marvel's going to be meeting with his team to discuss options potentially. What happens if they're you're out?
Did that even happen? We haven't heard anything since those texts have been released.
What do you think? They're just ignoring the situation? No.
Yes.
Shit's going on. No, shit's definitely going on behind closed doors.
I think they're waiting. They're writing it out. I think they're writing it out, and they've got options.
To write out. You can't even. But what do you mean? Like there's so much hinging on his turn as Kang. Yeah. I think you need to know sooner rather than later if this guy is fucking in or out and what the situation's going to look like for real. Mm-hmm. So let's just say in the event, hypothetically, they're like, dude, you're out. Like, we love you, but like, you can't beat on women. That's just not what we do here. So he's out. Then what? Like, what do you do? Do
you just recast? What do you mean?
Recast? Yeah. Well, you know who would probably love to fucking jump from DC to Marvel, huh?
Who's that?
The Rock. You don't think like The Rock would play Kang the Conqueror and take on the fucking Avengers and shit?
If it's the 1990s, he absolutely could play Kang, but not in 2023 because they want more. They want levels. There's a reason they went with Jonathan Majors, man. They are fucking with a lot of things, and they have big plans for Kang, and they need an actor that can deliver levels in performance. And I don't think The Rock is the choice.
I'm saying The Rock is obviously he's a superhero.
Sure.
He's got nothing going on at DC.
But do you want the Black Adam stink to come over to your Marvel? That's the last thing you want to do.
If you think he still has the Black Adam stink, Disney just signed him up for a fucking Moana movie.
Yeah.
So if you've got this guy who's like built like a superhero, who's definitely not going to be working with DC anytime soon.
Yeah.
Just saying. He's out there.
But part of the reasons why Black Adam didn't work is people didn't buy him in that road.
Nobody gives a fuck about Black Adam. That's why. That's why Black Adam didn't work. You don't need to look at anything else. Black Adam didn't work because it's Black Adam.
No, I'm saying is one of the reasons is people didn't buy him in the role. And the role was tried to be a more serious role, and it didn't quite work.
God, if only Jason Bateman had played Black Adam.
Jason Bateman? By the way, we got to talk about Air at some point, Jeff. Robert Giacinta says, what's a movie that...
Who cares? It doesn't matter who played Black Adam.
Oh, my God. You're ridiculous. Robert Giacinta says, what's a movie that was in development for a long time that never got made that bums you out the most? Oh, for me, it's always going to be the Tarantino, the Vega brothers. That was all. I mean, Travolta and fucking Michael Madsen as the Vega brothers in a movie. Fucking please take all my money. I would have loved to have seen that right in the 90s, right in that fucking sweet spot of the 90s. It would have been great. What about you, Jeff?
It's a tough call. There's just so many, man. It would be tough for me to, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Think about it. Galliot says, what about the Blue Beetle trailer? Yeah, Jeff, you fucking racist. Did you see the Blue Beetle trailer or not? Or is it too Latino for you?
Too Latino. There's no Latinos in Maine, okay?
No Latinos in Maine. That's no doubt. We don't like to go to the cold, man. We're not built for the cold. You don't see Latinos or Spanish countries winning gold medals in skiing and fucking. We don't go to the cold weather. But go ahead, yeah.
I thought it looked okay. I mean, what should I have said? This movie looks amazing.
Yes, because it does look amazing. It looks like a lot of fun.
A billion times. It's all the same movie. All this shit's the same.
Oh my God, you're insane. It's awesome. There's a much more family aspect to it. You haven't seen that in superhero movies before where the family's involved.
Never seen a fucking superhero movie with a family aspect before.
The family involved, not family aspect.
30 superhero movies. Every press quote is probably like, guys, but this one has a family aspect.
Yes, it does.
Shazam 2, we're really just a big family.
No, that's a different situation.
Come on, dude. The whole family angle is so played.
Oh my God, you're insane. You're insane. Brandon Dice, thank you, Brandon. He says, does the Apple Disney
family?
Does the Apple Disney rumors bother you too? I just don't want an Apple takeover. Disney owns a diverse catalog or original content they're never going to touch, and Fox content they can sell. Simpsons, Planet of the Apes, Alien/Predator, to name a few. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I mean, I think a lot of shit would have to happen on both sides for Apple to want to buy Disney, for Disney to want to be sold to Apple. Disney's always been autonomous, man. It just would be odd that they would sell themselves to someone else.
I don't understand business, so I can't return. I don't understand why Disney would want to sell, even if like we could get zillions of dollars from Apple. Well, what is the point of that? So then, do you just retire to a beach? Like, isn't the whole point? I'm Mr. Disney. Respect me.
I mean, why is Waystar selling? I don't understand why Waystar is selling to that Dutch son of a bitch. I don't understand why they're doing that, for God's sake. So I don't understand Disney selling either. It doesn't make sense.
Is that a Succession joke, John?
It is. I'm caught up. I've watched every season, every episode now, dude. It was murder from my brain. Robert G. Quinta says Kelvin Harrison would be good for Kang. Yeah, I like Kelvin Harrison. Jeff?
Me too. Good actor.
I do too. Jay Bling says, how much do you know about the Safdie brothers movies, Jeff? Wondering if Sandler's current favorite leading lady could find a way into the movie. Is he talking about Jennifer Aniston, or who's he talking about?
Someone mentioned that to me. I don't think that's the case.
She's not a Safdie actress. Look, she's done good independent films. I'm not going to deny Jennifer's got talent.
Would have said Adam Sandler's not a Safdie actor, though. So
yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know if that's fair. Someone did mention that to me, but I just didn't. I don't know if I buy that.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about fucking Star Wars.
All right, let's do it. Oh wait, we got one Streamlab that came through. Sorry. False Rockstar says, lucky I'm catching both live. I'm looking forward to Flora and Son. Have either of you seen it or heard anything else coming out of the festivals? Loving John Carney working with JGL and really like Begin Again and Love Once and Sing Street. Yeah, Jeff, you saw this one, yes?
Flora and Son, really, really good. Thumbs up. Definitely see that.
Okay.
Yeah, delightful.
Test wants to know, Jeff, is it true that Marvel directors don't have creative control over their films? What's the production process of Marvel? What level of control do they have?
Sure seems like it. It sure seems like, Marvel sort of decides this is what, we're doing in this movie, and this is what it's going to look like, and these are the action sequences, and you get to do the rest.
There we go. We got 3 more Streamlabs, but I'll swing back to them after the Star Wars news. Go ahead, Jeff.
Let's get them out of the way. Let's fucking...
Star Wars Celebration starts tomorrow. Get ready.
Huh?
Star Wars Celebration explodes tomorrow in London.
Get these out of the way, though.
Oh, the Streamlabs? Okay. All right, let's see. Jay Bling says, this is very unlikely, but based on Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston's recent comments on wanting to do a non-comedy together, do you know enough about... Okay, so the same question Jay Bling asked earlier. So we answered that, Jay. Thank you very much.
They love each other. They'd love to work together. I don't, that's up to the Safdies. I have no information.
Mike McKenzie says, do you think a Donkey Kong movie from Illumination is possible after Mario, or a Metroid movie? Dude, they spent a lot of time fleshing out that Donkey Kong land. I would not be surprised if that was a possible spinoff, because I loved that sequence in the movie. What do you think? Do you think
I agree. I could definitely see that, particularly with someone like Seth Rogen, who would be a strong anchor. Donkey Kong is in his own right, a character who the world is familiar with.
Yeah.
I mean, it could also be like a fun Peacock series or something too.
Yeah. Fair point. Fred Armisen was great. Oh my God. Lou Heap Fan. What's up, Lou? Good to see you. He says, I'm going to be part of the replay crew. Thanks, Jeff, for scoops, and John for the contrarian views. Hope to catch you all next week. Yeah, thank you very much, Lou.
Woo woo.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right.
All right, guys. It's what you've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
This is what I am hearing.
Okay.
With regards to Star Wars Celebration tomorrow.
Okay.
We are mere hours away. So this is a little appetizer, which is that you can expect trailers, as you might have assumed, for Indiana Jones 5, a new trailer, and Ahsoka. Ahsoka,
yes.
Okay, yeah. But here's what I'm hearing. This is the big rumor this week.
And I want to say this to all you Star Wars YouTube channels who are about to watch this and doubt everything. Jeff has more sources than you do, so just kind of letting you know. So if you're going to bash it, make fun of it, just understand that you're bashing and make fun of it because you're stupid about it. Go ahead.
I would say my is so close to Star Wars Celebration that my traditional Star Wars source could answer no questions.
Ooh, wow.
So okay. I got no comments on a bunch of this stuff, but this was the rumor. This came from the person who has given me a lot of good Amazon stuff, over the last few months. Okay. They are hearing, and this shouldn't be a gigantic surprise, but they keep hearing. I've told you last week that there's going to be 3 Star Wars movies that are announced tomorrow.
Yes.
One is going to be SOC's movie, right? The one that Lindelof left.
Yes.
And then there's 2 others. We don't really have any details on well, I guess maybe one is Taika Waititi if they officially do that. But this other one that I keep hearing, and this is grain of salt, but I hear that Dave Filoni is going to get one of the 3 movies.
Wow.
Dave Filoni is going to be, I guess, directing right? Does he direct? Does he write?
Yes.
I think one of the movies will be his.
Very interesting. Okay.
I've heard that here's what everything comes with.
Okay.
I'm told they're trying to codify the Star Wars universe around the worlds that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have created.
Right.
Which is why all these other movies and shows are sort of being killed. So
wow.
it does, in fact, sound like Dave Filoni is the new George Lucas in terms of the design of the universe going forward.
Very interesting. Okay.
What my sources told me was that Jon Favreau had a falling out with Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, shit.
After season 2 of The Mandalorian, I think it was.
Really?
Because she tried to get so involved in the show to the point where Jon Favreau almost left the show after season 2. I'm told she also forced him to do Boba Fett, and this is something I don't even know. You'll have to film me. I don't even know what this is.
Sure.
That she forced him to make Grogu and Din reunite.
Yep. Yes, in Boba Fett.
Which Jon Favreau did not want to do.
Wow.
And he was very bummed by the reaction, I think.
Well, let's stop for a moment here because okay.
No. We're going to keep going.
Oh, fine.
Just one last thing out, and then you can come back.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm told Pedro Pascal also had a big blow up with Disney during season 2.
Right.
And
that was
barely on set for season 3, which is why the character has been sidelined a little bit in favor of Bo-Katan. Is this accurate?
Yeah. A lot of people's complaints about this season has been how Din and Grogu feel like afterthoughts through a majority of the season, and it's focused mostly on Bo-Katan reunited the Mandalorians to take over Mandalore.
Yeah, and so this source mentioned that who knows if Pedro Pascal is even back next season for the Mandalorian, or if his character walks away somehow in the finale or dies.
Whoa!
That's just that. This is what the source posited because they know that Pedro, I don't think, has been super happy.
Wow.
So, but to me, the headline there is the Filoni thing.
Yeah. This is going to give more fuel to the people who want Kathleen Kennedy to leave Star Wars. This is going to give them even more fuel. So, so interesting. Like you said, take it with a grain, but it's a reliable source of yours that you've sussed out and has given you a lot of positive stuff in the past. So this is the approach you're coming from.
This is an amalgamation of different sources and what they've heard, I would say, on Star Wars.
Okay.
Could we hear, from the people involved and be like, well, no, there was no falling out with Kathleen Kennedy, and Pedro didn't have a blow up with Disney, and everything's fine, everything's great, and we're just going to, Bo-Katan's just, we had a scheduling issue with Last of Us, and that's why, Mando's not in it as much. Again, I don't watch the fucking show. I'm not kept up on this stuff. I barely know who Grogu and Din are. Right. But that is what I've heard.
Wow.
And I don't know. It's passed the smell test to me.
Stands to reason. Because, a lot of people felt like Kathleen Kennedy didn't have anything to do with season 1. And season 1 was so great of The Mandalorian. And then maybe she wanted to have her fingerprints on it. She wanted some of the credits. So she was more involved, which caused problems from Favreau. And one of the big complaints about this season of The Mandalorian was they felt that it was incredibly stupid. A lot of people feel that it was really dumb to have The Mandalorian and Grogu reunite on another show. And it may have been that she wanted to keep that, give that show prestige, get credit for that show, what have you. So it kind of messed up Mandalorian season 3. And if that could be traced back to her, man, I mean, Favreau and Filoni are getting all the negative buzz for that decision. And maybe they can't speak out because of the NDAs and Disney and all that. But man, if that's true, dude, that is an unfortunate situation for both Favreau and Filoni, who have to weather that criticism knowing it wasn't their decision in this situation. So
this isn't like factual. This is how it all went down. This is just what someone thinks went down.
Yeah.
I see everybody in the comments section exploding.
Yeah.
I don't this. Maybe it is an amalgamation of Star Wars stuff and that people have said on YouTube, and maybe it's all crap. Maybe it's somebody sifting through that stuff to tell me what's what. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not here to, it's not written on the site. When it's written on the site, that means it's true.
But it's not, out of the realm of possibility, is what I would say. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I have a connection with a couple of people who've worked with Kathleen Kennedy, and they, had a falling out themselves, and what they were saying and what the trades were saying about the fallout, or reporting or rumoring about the fallout, was accurate. And so they couldn't come out and say that because they're under the NDA and the contract and all that kind of stuff. But certainly they have no problem revealing that to certain people. And I have a source that's gotten back to me and told me that it was very true. So, I mean, I do give her credit that when she wants to change directors, it's usually not a negative result. I mean, Solo, however you feel about Solo, but everything else, when she's changed course, it has worked out for the best. Now, this kind of thing may be a problem because she might have possibly ruined this final season of The Mandalorian, or this third season of Mandalorian, because of this situation. And if it forces Pedro to leave, that's a bad situation too, because that stuff's been going on since season 2. I think Grace Randolph mentioned stuff about Pedro being upset about how things were going with Disney and him taking off the helmet, not taking off the helmet. So it could explain why we haven't even seen him take off the helmet yet the entire season. And the whole point has been for him to want to be back in the cult of the Mandalorian cult that he's in, which is you never take off your helmet. So it may have just been something that they did this way to work out this way.
You have to understand that the Pedro Pascal under the helmet in season 1 is different than the Pedro Pascal under the helmet in season 3.
Yeah.
Okay? He's in a different place in his career. He's the star of HBO's biggest show. So it's, it is different.
Right.
And that's just how it goes out here. Listen, I have nothing against Kathleen Kennedy. I'm not trying to lay the blame at her feet or anything. And even when I say this stuff to you guys, I don't even know what it necessarily means or who it reflects poorly on.
Yeah.
It just, this is what fucking came in this week.
Man.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it could be a little bit of grain of salt. We shall see if it's true or not in the long, because I'm sure someone's going to write a big old book about this stuff.
And we'll see, if Dave Filoni gets a Star Wars movie tomorrow.
I think he's earned it, for God's sake.
Exactly. Yeah. I was just going to say that. It seems like he's earned the opportunity.
Yeah, the people have been clamoring for it. Star Wars fans love what Filoni has done. Essentially, Filoni rescued Star Wars from the fucking Sarlacc pit it was falling into after that sequel trilogy with The Mandalorian. Him and Favreau saved it. The Ahsoka thing is going to be great as well. All right. Let's see. We've got no Streamlabs. Well, no more Streamlabs or Super Chat. So is that it? Is that all you got? Oh, yeah, Air. What about Air? Did you go see it? Do you love it?
Dude, big thumbs up on Air. I thought it was terrific.
Yeah. Go see. I saw it yesterday. And 4 people in the theater. Best way to watch it. It was so good. Go and see Air, everybody. Damon is good, but so is fucking Chris Tucker. I was really blown away by Chris Tucker in that role, and Viola Davis and Ben Affleck. Just incredible stuff. Go and see that movie for sure. All right. Anything else? Are we good? All right. We got to go. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us, Jeff. Where can they find you and all the stuff you got going on?
Kathleen, I will call you back. BTL news for Below the Line. We have air reviews on Below the Line and Above the Line today, abovetheline.com. And don't stop going there just because they've stopped sponsoring the podcast, guys. And again, we're going to get that survey out to you real soon.
Yes.
And then lamag.com. Hopefully I'll have my Air review done tonight and I can send it in tomorrow morning for him.
Nice. Brian Brawler's a nice donation for Brian. Thank you, Brian. He says, wait, Jeff, you're an actual journalist that has sources? I thought this was a bit. Very funny stuff, Brian. Brian's a smart ass, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Brian, for sending that in. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch, my other podcasts, The Geek Buddies, and The Cinephiles that are out there for you all to enjoy for sure. And look forward to we're going live tomorrow at 11 a.m. PT for The Geek Buddies. We're going to talk about some news going through the weekend. We're going to report on the Star Wars Celebration news, first day of Star Wars Celebration. So come in and join us live at 11 a.m. PT. And like I said, if you want a cool new shirt, go to VAWdesigns.com. Help our friend Aaron Wilhelm. He's got great new designs of all geeky stuff and movie stuff there for you all to enjoy. All right, take care of yourselves, everybody. Be well, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new live episode of The Hot Mic. Peace.
Thank you.